Big debate, debating the motion, we are safer owning guns. So I'll quickly run through the format. My name is Liam McManus, I am your moderator for this evening, and I'm the Big Debate's founder. So I'll run you through the format, and I'll introduce our frontliners. We have our for the motion frontliners and our against the motion frontliners. Or it's the other way around. We have our for the motion frontliners and our against the motion frontliners. Should we give them a quick round of applause?
By definition, criminals do not care about the law. So imagining that banning guns will make them disappear from the hands of criminals is just naive. Now, whenever discussing guns, it's essential that we distinguish between gun deaths and gun homicides. This is because the majority of gun deaths in the US are not the result of murder, but of suicide. Now, suicide has been increasing in recent years. Another noteworthy increase is that of concealed carry permits. These are permits that allow people to carry a gun legally on their person and conceal it. These and other data suggest that gun ownership is actually rising. However, to assume that more guns has led to more suicide would be a mistake. Although suicide has increased, gun suicides have actually declined. Another noteworthy decline is that of overall crime. Violent crime and gun crime have both dropped in recent years. If guns are making us less safe, how did this happen?
So, my first point I want to make. Guns are weapons. So why do people have weapons? I think the most obvious reason is to kill people. So does any of us here think killing people is okay? Would you shoot at somebody to kill them? I don't know. Well, imagine you have a family, somebody tries to attack you and has a gun. Somebody's shooting your kid. So what would you do? Would you kill them in return? I don't know. Of course, okay. Another point, people feel unsafe. So why do they feel unsafe? I doubt that owning a gun would make you feel safer. Another one, imagine half of the people here were allowed to bring guns and the other half doesn't have guns. Would you feel safe or unsafe? Who would feel safe? Who would feel unsafe? Would you want a gun or wouldn't you want one? What happens if we make some really outrageous arguments and the people with guns get angry and try to shoot us? Oh, we're all dead.
Some people are concerned about gun crime going up in their neighborhood, and I think, removing guns is more of treating a symptom rather than a cause. Those symptoms, or rather the cause, would still manifest in other ways if you took guns away. Clearly the real issue is treating the first cause properly. People who are typically against gun ownership, Obama springs to mind, and I have a slide, but no worries. There was a picture with Obama, and he's going, no guns, but then all his bodyguards surrounding him are packing guns. So it's kind of hypocritical, and we see this a lot, actually. Dignitaries all around the world have these, so you have to really ask the question, what's the real motive for removing gun ownership? Thanks.
I think that some people should have guns, and those people are the government. If you have a functioning government, then they will use the guns to reduce violence. And reducing violence is what makes us safer, not guns. Guns, on the other hand, make suicide vastly easier and more convenient. As you can see, the US has a hell of a lot more guns, homicides by gun than peer countries. If you have lots and lots of guns, and it is very, very easy to get a gun, and it's very easy to get a gun even if it is illegal to get a gun, lots of people who have no self-control will have guns. Occasionally they will get drunk, or they will have a fight, and then they will kill each other. There are a great many deaths caused by guns in the US. Most of them are suicides. Now, you know what? It's really bad that there are people killed by homicide, but my main point is that guns make suicide easier. This does not make anyone safer. So if we make it harder to have guns, or if we make it illegal for civilians to have guns, or if we license it, then we will be safer. Guns do not make people safer. Having a functioning state and civil society makes people safer.
His point is, the gun causes more crime and more death because it has the potential to kill so much more. So much more.
To begin, most gun crime is committed, most gun crime is committed with handguns for a start. But if you actually look at the greatest mass killings of all time, a lot of them don't actually involve guns, they involve bombs. And we've also seen a recent trend in Europe especially, of terrorists just hiring a van and just driving down the street and running a bunch of people over. And you can do a lot of damage just with a vehicle. And I don't think anyone's going to argue that we should ban cars or vans.
Yeah, but imagine they had guns. It would be even more.
Yeah, and they did get guns in France, and they murdered like 80 people in the back.
Stop.
Again, it doesn't actually... Making them illegal doesn't actually stop anything. If someone in that crowd had a gun, then, again, a mass shooting only ends when the force is met with other force from a gun.
So, if you have a gun, it might be easier for you to kill somebody because I sit here, I want to shoot somebody over there, pew, I just shoot them. I don't even see them, whatever, somebody, oh, I can see very clearly, pam, and you're dead. But if I have to find another method, like I use a knife or I have to use my hands, I guess it's a lot more difficult to kill somebody because you actually have to touch the person. And this person might be really afraid, so you see the fear in his eyes.
So your point is the gun's not necessary. There are other ways to defend yourself. The gun is unnecessary.
You have more chance to actually defend yourself and not kill the other one and not get in trouble.
It's unnecessary and less dangerous for yourself and for other people. Who wants to counter that? Who wants to take on that point? Jump in, sir.
How many women want to fight me right now?
How many women want to fight you? She's right behind you and she says yes. But just, we got one vote.
You can learn martial arts, but again, there's biological difference. Men have just way more upper body strength, and they can overpower you. You know, it's just as simple as that. So, if you're a feminist, you should be for guns. They're the best equalizer women have. So.
I don't think so. Even if it's a bigger guy than me, if I have the right technique, and if I learn how to use the right technique, I can choke him, I can break his arm.
I just want to say, hearing comments like that, it's incredible to see what Hollywood has done to women, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
What, sorry, Hollywood, is that?
Hollywood. It's incredible. Like, you see Charlize Theron kicking ass in the latest movie and you think, maybe after 200-300 hours of intense karate lessons in a month in Thailand learning Muay Thai, I could probably take on a guy. The chances are you probably couldn't.
We have a few myths going. One is that, yeah, there's more guns in the United States than there was in the past, and maybe some crime has gone down, but there's less gun owners. Does anybody know that? There's actually less gun owners.
That's not true.
They own more guns.
Tell me your source.
Now, I want to talk about women and guns. So I looked up on Mother Jones here, because we're making a lot about, oh, feminists need guns and that's their ultimate self-defense. But in 2013, more than 5 times more women were shot by husbands and boyfriends and ex-partners than murdered by male strangers. So when you have more guns, more women are dying, all right? A woman's chances of being killed by her abuser increase more than 5 times if he has access to a gun. So we're talking about, we're safer if people own guns.
I can quote you opposite statistics. Mother Jones is an incredibly left-leaning news organization.
Mother Jones, actually.
Mother Jones, incredibly left-leaning.
They're quoting the FBI and stuff here. But one study found that women in states with higher gun ownership rates were 4.9 times more likely to be murdered by a gun. So, talking about personal safety, about women and they need guns, I don't know. I'm pretty undecided whether that's a very strong argument.
Where do you guys draw the lines at weapons? So you're pro-guns, but what about this picture here of a big rocket launcher? What about nuclear missiles? Where do you draw the line, if you do draw the line at all, at civilians having weapons.
I'd just like to quote an excerpt from a paper, an article actually, entitled, "I used to think gun control was the answer, my research told me otherwise." Now this one writes, "When I looked at the other off-parade policies, I found out that no gun owner walks into the store to buy an assault, quote, assault weapon. It's an invented classification that includes any semi-automatic that has 2 or more features, such as a bayonet mount, a rocket-propelled grenade launcher, a folding stock, or a pistol grip. But guns are modular, and any hobbyist can easily add these features at home, just as if they were snapping together Legos. Before I started researching gun deaths, gun control policy used to frustrate me. I wish the National Rifle Association would stop blocking common sense gun control reforms such as banning assault weapons, restricting silencers, shrinking magazine sizes, and all other measures that could make guns less deadly. Then my colleagues and I, at 538, spent 3 months analysing all 33,000 lives ended by guns each year in the United States, and I wound up frustrated in a whole new way. We looked at what interventions might have saved those people, and the case for the policies I lobbied for crumbled when I examined the evidence. The best ideas left standing were narrowly tailored interventions to protect subtypes, potential victims, not broad attempts to limit the lethality of guns.
So you agree with that statement? So so to answer the question, you do draw the line at things like rocket launchers.
Again, when people spout this like assault weapon label, like, again, it's an arbitrary category. And again, prohibition doesn't work. It doesn't matter what you try and prohibit. All you do when you ban something is you create the black market.
So you're for me having this weapon in my shed? It's okay.
For your right to trade voluntarily with other people, unless you're infringing on other people's rights.
Okay, that's a clear position.
Every one of us has a weapon. It's our mouth. And this should be it, right? So how fantastic would be the world if we could just argue and do not use our fist. That is the next weapon, right? And then there is an escalation of weapon. And where does it lead to? Are the people more happy? Actually, no. They're dead.
Tell that to ISIS.
Guns make it a hell of a lot more convenient to kill people. It's much easier. But at the same time, the Rwandan genocide was committed by people with machetes. Guns make killing people a lot easier. You need many fewer people. You need more organization, but you need a lot fewer people. If you want to commit a genocide, you need a lot of people who really hate the other side. If you want to take a small committed group of people and destroy a society, or kill millions, then all you need is a relatively small group with the weaponry. For example, the Soviet Union, when the Russian Revolution killed around 10% of the population. Guns make it a lot easier to kill people, so fewer people should have them, because it makes it easier, more convenient to kill people. Like, a spree shooting is just one person with a bit of organization, a bit of planning, deciding that they're going to kill an enormous number of people, like Anders Behring Breivik in Norway, and the Toya killing parade went after the socialist youth.
There is a fantasy land, like, the arguments he's making can be just as equally used to justify gun ownership. Yes, it's easier to kill people with guns, and that's why most mass shootings occur in gun-free zones, because the criminals know there's no one's going to fight back. So the only time when these mass shootings end is when the force is met with force by the police, but by the time the police get there, we've already massacred a bunch of people. So again, gun is the best way to level the playing field and minimise the damage that criminals want to do.
Don't just think about adults or countries, think about children. I mean, go through shops. How many toy guns do you see? Children are encouraged to exercise violence. Do you think this is correct? I don't think so. There should be ways to teach children, sense values.
Okay, so you're against that culture. Would you ban toy guns? I love those guns. Ban toy guns as well?
My child needed toy guns.
There's a really good point, which no one's mentioned yet, but behind, just below US, for gun ownership, you've got Finland and Switzerland. I think it's Switzerland and Finland. And they're practically the same. The gun ownership is about half what it is US, but their homicide rate and gun-related death are way lower. The ratio is totally different. How do you explain this disparity, right? The Swiss, back in World War II, Time wrote this article saying there was a risk of Switzerland being invaded, but it wasn't, and partly the reason was because every Swiss man was armed, trained from young, and they're very patriotic. They make the US look like, you know, they hate their country. So Switzerland, you know, being trained in defense, they have this natural and very calm culture, which can spring to defense, but also spring to peace as well.
Okay, clear point.
I really wish we didn't need guns. I really do. But that's not the world we live with. There are people that want to do harm, and the best way to prevent that harm is to be equally armed. So, again, you can talk about gun control and which guns we should have, etc., etc. For me, again, it's if you want to trade with another human being, whether that's sugar, a hammer, a car, or a gun, I don't think you should be interrupted unless you're infringing on someone else's rights.
Guns should be for people who know what they're doing, who aren't going to get angry and hurt somebody. Violence should be handled by professionals. Some of those professionals, very few of them need guns, like the police, like my father. Some of those professionals, their main job is to be able to use a gun in case someone with lots and lots of guns, otherwise known as an invading army, shows up. We do not need those guns. We are not safer if we have guns.
All right, thank you everyone. I heard that he's saying that actually, that we're not safe with the guns, right? But you're talking about some places that you're living in Shanghai, right? Or you're living in some places in North Europe, in Switzerland, in Sweden. But you're not living in a place that is really dangerous without a gun. So you are thinking, I think you guys need Elon Musk. He's gonna make a new world in Mars without guns, then you can go there. I'm not a billionaire, I can't go there, so you can maybe make some more money and then go there. Living there without guns. But I'm staying in the planet. I'm staying in Middle East, I'm staying in Turkey, I'm staying in my country. And I know people, they're civilians, they're not soldiers, they need a gun. Because their terrorist groups are coming and killing their father in front of their eyes. This 5-year-old kid, her parents died because of the terrorist attacks. What are you going to do if you're a little boy, 5 years old? What are you going to do? You'll be an adult and you'll get a gun and kill all these terrorists, right? What are you going to do?
Someone mentioned earlier about, if you're in a mountain on top and there's a bunch of terrorists around that mountain, you're going to need a gun to protect yourself. Why? Because they all have guns. But if nobody had guns, if terrorists didn't have them, criminals didn't have them, like nobody had them, you have to come to the conclusion it would be a safer world. The odds of being killed would be lower. Even if everybody tried to drive over you, it'd still be lower. Guns aren't making it safer. Another point I like to make is about crimes. If people say, I want to protect my property, I want to protect my house, and this and that. Well, I was researching a little bit, and I was looking at the FBI statistics. So far, in America, where you have a lot of mass shootings, 0 mass shootings have been stopped by a civilian with a gun. Not one. Another thing is, you're 8 times, if you're a gun owner, you're 8 times more likely to use your gun in aggression, in an argument with someone, your neighbor, your loved one, your child, whoever it may be, than you are to actually use it to stop a crime. And that doesn't sound very safe to me. The less people have guns, the less people get shot by them. I grew up around guns. I'm not anti-gun. I'm pro-control. I think we need a lot more control over guns and it'll be a safe society.
The winner of the debate is the team that changes the most minds, not necessarily the highest amount of votes. So between the first vote and the final vote, whichever team changed the most minds will be the winners of this big debate. Ian, do you want to send that in the group? 3, 2, 1. Boom. For the motion, 25%. Against the motion, 62%. Undecided, 13%. So for the motion, the biggest swing, plus 14%. For the motion, win this big debate. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your week in a